Well, Bennett Kessler filed this following report. Public reaction to news of the local Bureau of Land Management patrolling for people, quote, illegally taking artifacts out of the desert, end quote. Now, that's been mixed, from anger and outrage to belief in regulations. The BLM field office manager, Bernadette Lovato, talked to Sierra Wave Media about details of enforcement. Now, to many in the eastern Sierra, bottle and can collection from the desert is a fun pastime, but to BLM, it can be a law violation and in some cases deserves penalties. Now, Lovato said her two law enforcement officers used several national acts to protect the desert. She said the Antiquities Act of 1906 says objects 100 years or older must stay where they are. Lovato said the National Historic Preservation Act protects items 50 years or older. She said BLM protects these items while they are under consideration for the National Register. Then there is the Archaeological Resource Protection Act, which protects items at least 100 years old and also limits penalties. Lovato said, quote, managing cultural resources is complex, end quote. Asked what objects her officers would consider protecting, Lovato said old bottles, cans, and mining works. Now, aware of the public outrage sparked by recent news of a BLM investigation of a retired man collecting junk in the desert, Lovato said these are uninformed reactions. She said, quote, this is an ongoing investigation and I cannot comment, end quote. Now, Lovato did say there is nothing on the public record at this point on the case in Chalfont. Lovato also related an incident that reveals the public hostility over regulation of their desert collecting. Now, she said one of her employees, unrelated to the bottle collection issue, was volunteering at the soup kitchen in Bishop and got booed one afternoon. Said Lovato, quote, unfortunately, people think it's okay to remove historic objects from public land. Once removed, she said, they're removed from their context, scientific context, and it's gone and we can't complete the story, end quote. Now, Lovato said BLM is not out there actively keeping people off public land. She said BLM just hopes people will treat public land with respect and leave things there and let others see it. Now, the BLM manager also said that because collection of things in the desert has been, quote, an accepted activity here from a societal standpoint, people haven't felt peer pressure that it's wrong, end quote. She also noted that they think it's okay to take historic objects and put them on the mantle or patio. It's the public's resources. Now, there are two BLM law enforcement officers in the Bishop Field Office, which covers Inyo and Mono counties. Well, Bennett Kessler also filed this story. The Mammoth Lakes Planning and Economic Development Commission met last Wednesday to review and comment on proposed zoning for adult businesses and on the hiring of a community and economic development director. Now, senior planner Sandra Moberly said that the commission accepted the staff report on the zoning proposal for adult businesses. She said no one has come forward with a business proposal, but she said the First Amendment does protect adult businesses, and Mammoth cannot prohibit them and must address them in the zoning code. Now, Moberly said the commission had some questions and that the issue will go out for public review this summer. Now, the staff report on this issue says the current code is outdated and not consistent with current state and federal law. The planning staff proposed several regulations intended to restrict areas in which adult businesses can operate in Mammoth Lakes. Now, the report recommends location in the industrial zone only, 500 feet away from a residential zone, school, park, or religious institution. Now, planner Moberly said the location in Mammoth would be the industrial park and Commerce Drive. Now, the commissioners also reviewed a job description for the hiring of a community and economic development director. Commissioners said they wanted more weight on the economic development duties of the position. Now, the recruitment plan for this top job in the department lays out an advertising plan with the application deadline May 24th. Now, if there are 5 eligible candidates, 2 panels will interview them the week of June 10th. The community panel of Jim Smith, Chuck Landy, Matthew Lehman, and Rhonda Dugan, plus the professional panel of Sandra Moberly, Ray Jarvis, and Scott Burns. The town manager will then interview the top 2 or 3 candidates. Well, we get a press release from the Bureau of Land Management noting that the Bishop Field Office is planning events this March as well as April, and this is to educate climbers and campers on how to enjoy but not abuse the natural resources as the number of visitors grows. Now, the BLM press release states that the BLM will host Climbers Coffee Talks at the Pleasant Valley Pit Campground. That is coming up this Friday, March 22nd, and then again also on April 29th and April 19th. At 9 a.m. Now, these talks provide a way for campers and climbers to meet BLM rangers and staff to discuss interests and concerns in an informal setting. Now, BLM staff will be joined at several sessions by members of the Bishop Paiute Tribe and the Bishop Area Climbing Coalition to talk with folks and answer questions on topics ranging from leave no trace ethics to local cultural awareness and future volunteer projects. Now, on April 20th, the BLM will team up with the Bishop Area Climbers Coalition, Friends of the Inyo Access Fund, as well as American Alpine Club to host an Adopt a Crag Volunteer Stewardship Day at the Happy Bouldering area. Now, that event will start at 8:30 with coffee at the Happy Trailhead and run until noon. Now, if you would like to get directions or more information on that event, you can contact Kirsten Hines at 760-872-5034. Now, over the past decade, the Bishop Field Office of the BLM has experienced an increase in climbing and dispersed car camping activity in the volcanic tableland north of Bishop. Now, damage to cultural and natural resources also has increased as more climbers and other public land users visit the tableland and camp in the area. Now, according to a quote, "We are concerned about visitors leaving trash or human waste, building improper fires, camping in archaeological sites, or on sensitive vegetation, and creating new roads, trails, and parking areas." And that was from Becky Hutto, the BLM Park Ranger. Now, the BLM press release notes that visitors from all over the world come to Bishop for spring break to enjoy a beautiful day in the happy and sad bouldering areas, and again, managed by the BLM Bishop Field Office. BLM recreation staff regularly monitor the climbing areas and make contact with as many public land visitors as possible to share outdoor ethics information. Now, anyone who would like to volunteer time to preserve and protect areas like the tablelands through trail work and other cleanup, or also more information on the Climbers Coffee, you can contact 760-872-5008. We'll be back with more news.